Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you how to deal with a few of the knots. He's been bathed a week ago, but he's already really matted in certain areas. I know exactly where he mats really badly and where he doesn't, and I'm not going to bath him every week or so, but there is a way to look after the coat. So he's now after a walk and he came back really wet and muddy, so I blasted him through just to dry him, but no brushing. And so he's been blasted, and his biggest knots, which you might find your setters will have, will be there in the armpits and back there, and also the back of the front legs tend to get quite knotted. And also if we're turning round, Neo, turn, Neo, turn, good boy, up. And then especially for the boys, they tend to knot quite badly back here, where the testicles rub and where the thighs are rubbing. So after a week, he's very knotted there, which I will show you close up. And the blaster helped with some of it and blasted them out, but not everything. So I'll show you in one section how you deal with the knots, and if I can show you properly, let's have a look. I don't know if camera will show it well, but he's really badly knotted there on the back of his front legs. These are all solid knots under this hair, and we're going to deal with that now. One very how you can help with knotting is try to pick carefully where you're going to walk. Certain areas I do avoid, and he's just not allowed to run out of my sight, disappear for an hour somewhere in the woods and then come back with half a bush. So what I do with mine, they have to stay inside. I pick quite carefully where I'm going to walk them, so that they don't collect things in their coats, or he doesn't. And if he does, if I see something stuck, twig or anything out off the field stuck in him, I'll call him straight back and pick him out as soon as I see them, before they get tangled up even more. So I'll what I'll do is, now another important thing is, especially on the boys, don't ever brush them there where they pee on their hair. If there is a knot there that you need to, they normally don't tangle too badly there, they just pee on it. So I don't ever put my brush onto there. And if there is a tangle, then I will do very carefully with some dry oil, and you can detangle that. But you can see at the moment we're going to leave that. That's fine. I wouldn't be able to get a comb through this, but over here is also not too matted, and on the inside there, so I'm going to totally leave that. It's just going to be dematting his armpits. Back of his front legs we'll check, and I'll show you in the back of him, because that's quite an easy spot to show you on. So we're just going to turn him. You are naughty boy, aren't you? Right, no, come on, turn. Good boy. Right, we can put him a bit lower. Right, so that he doesn't spin around. And I will apply any form of dry oil onto the coat, which means it's non-greasy. When it dries out, you won't really know that it's been there, because making him greasy is just going to attract a lot more dirt and mud into him. So I prefer the dry oils, like Pantene or this one. And I also have got a dirty brush, which this one I use on a dirty coat, and then I have a different one, a clean one, which I would work on a clean bath coat. So with my which side, I think on this leg will be easier if I can come here a bit, get him into the camera a bit more, and let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. No, I'm not sure we can. Right, so it looks okay on here, but it's not. There's a lot of knots in, so what I tend to do is do 1/2 at the time. So we're going to leave everything from that leg, and we are just going to, and I will get his tail out of the way, and I will scoop all of the hair from the inside of his leg, and I will move it away to the side like this, and I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to start working through from the bottom. His hock's already been brushed out. They don't ever mat, doesn't matter how long they are, and they're very long at the moment, so I can just brush through there quite easily. But we'll start, his knotting starts from here, and then they go up the leg there. So if I move all the hair there, and I'll start very gently brushing through until I'll come across to a knot. There's a little twig, so we can get rid of that. And it's also very, just keep an eye on your brush. If you aren't getting too much hair on your brush, you're probably ripping out too much. So just try to go gentle, and you can hear it where the brush gets stuck into the coat. And you can just very gently, and we're working through this section, there's no knots in there. Here's a little knot there, so we'll just grab the hair and brush the end out of it. And I'm holding this, and I'm slowly letting layer by layer to come through, and just very gently working through small section of a coat at the time. So we've got a little bit there, so just go quite gently, and I'm still holding everything else, and I'm just dropping little layer by layer down the coat like this. And all of this got blasted out quite well with the blaster. Now we come across the first knot in there, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of my dry oil directly onto the knot, and I'm going to massage that in. Now it feels greasy, almost like a lubricant, but it will dry, and with no thick greasy residue in his coat, and he will leave it nice and silky. So we work that in like that, and then very gently. Now to undo the knot, I will hold one side of it, and with your brush hand I will gently move the hair to the side and separate the knot away gently down and to the side, and work through that knot like that. And it's gliding it really easily through the oil, the brush, and I can just, and that's the first mat. And these are really stubborn mats here that he gets, because they will form right at the skin. So that's all gone through easily, and I've got almost nothing, tiny little bit on the brush there. And then I'll drop another section, steady, steady my boy. Then I'll release another section. Right, stop, come here, this way, that's it. We'll just have to turn your butt into the camera, sorry my boy. So I'm still holding all of that up, and we're working through what we can. There, until we come across the next. Hey. Hey. It's just the postman. Just the postman. That's enough. Hey. Right. Alright, you keep barking, I'll keep working. So here we got another really big one. Hey, that's enough. Enough. Stop now. So again, I'll just pop some oil on there and rub that into the mat. And these are very stubborn here, completely knotted. People would be tempted to just cut it out, but if I leave it any longer, it's just going to get a lot worse, and it saves me bathing him because he's just going to be full of mud again tomorrow. So we'll just work that in. Wipe out my hands, and now we'll start getting it, and it just glides through. Brush just glides through that mat really easily, and we are not ripping the coat out, we're not destroying it, we're saving all the hair that we can save, and it's really not hard. I would go a lot quicker if I wasn't filming, but just so that you can see what we're doing. There's more, so we'll just pop another one on there, rub that in. And again, hold side of the clump, that's not it, one side, and we'll brush down and slightly to the side to untangle it, and it glides through completely easily. Turn it up a bit that way. So it is going to be a lot worse as we get closer up there, and then we need a bit more there. And you can try to really stubborn ones, work them through with your fingers to separate the knots. There might be something stuck in there, I can feel, so stay. And we'll just, and we would do exactly the same way, holding the hair out the way and dropping down layer by layer to work through on the back of the front legs, because that's where they get knotted quite badly as well. And you want to look after your feathers because they don't replace as easily and as quickly as your top coat over there. So those that say, you know, brush your dog every week, no, you don't want to be brushing this every week. A little brush to stay on top of the knots. I'd like him to go 2 or 3 months without a bath if I can do it. So now we're going to get up to there where I know it's really knotted. I can feel it. So I'm just going to pop the oil in there. Rub that in. He's got some on the ends here, so I'll just rub into the ends there. And there's a bit more. If it's a large area, I'll just apply oil to most of it. And again, I will get everything on this side of his leg to one side, and then I will start gently brushing through. And we go down and to the side. I'm holding parts of the knots, because if you just go and you try to brush through the whole knot like that, you will rip out a lot of your coat that didn't need to come out, because you will always lose some hair. So we'll just work through that well. And very gently. You can also use a small pin brush. That's a bit more kinder to the knot and the dog. So if your dog doesn't like brushing very much, then this might be easier for the dog. And you can see also, if I want to save, if I've got really fragile coat, I would use rather a small pin brush, but it's quite hard. You don't want one really soft, because that will just, it won't go through the knotted hair. It will just bend the pins. So this one's quite firm, not too soft. And we'll just brushing out to the side, small section at the time, steady. And we'll just go, that was the one at the end. And as you can see, the oil really helps it glide through. Well, we've got some knots here at the end. Stubborn one. It's going to have to come out. It's going to have to lose that little bit. Right. So steady, steady, steady. So we've done all of that side, and just to be sure, you always check with a comb, and that should now glide through. No, I'm still catching there, so we have missed something. So we'll just go back into that section. There it is, there's your knot, you see, so it looks, this is what I said in the previous video, that just because, right, no, just because your slicker brush goes through doesn't mean you've done the knot. So, and now we should be able to get beautifully come through there, through that one side of the leg. No, I'm still catching. We've got another one in there still. That's right in between his testes. So I'm just going to hold that knot up there. Get a bit more oil in there. Rub that really well in. Feels a little bit greasy at the moment, but that will dry out nicely. So now we should be done. And there we go. Right, another one. There we go. So that side. It's all not free now, and it all makes it also really nice and sleek. If I can show you from this side, just turn this side. Stay there, stay. So as you can see, it took away the frizz as well, and that's all not free there. And I will just put some, if it's a we can just put some there where he pees, and just drop that on there. Rub that on there really nicely. Stay. And now we just very gently go through. What I do with my boy, as he does pee on his coat here, and he ends up smelling quite badly. I know some people will just wash it off. I'm too lazy to wash him off at home. Every couple of days he really needs a wash. If he's not had a swim or been in the water, because he will start smelling. So I've taught him to, on command, get in the water at least to his elbows, so that he'll rinse his feathers off every day on the walk, and then he doesn't smell for me of a pee. Just really gently checking there that you really don't want to rip any coat out of this section, and having all that there, so, and that's all nice there, and gives him a little bit of protection from the pee as well on his coat. And we're going to leave that, and that's how you'll then work through all your other sections. So back here, armpits are really difficult, and we've removed a little bit of hair. You'll always lose some, but that's what I mean. If you've done it every day, and every day you remove some of your feather, and that's what we got from the big knot at the back. So this is why I don't do it every day. You will lose some hair even if you're most careful, because that's what forms the knot in the first place. It's the hair that falls out or gets pulled out, and it gets stuck in the hair that's not coming out yet, and that's how your knot will form. So don't do it every day. I don't. Sometimes he goes 2 or 3 months without me even going near his coat, and then we'll just take time gently dematting him. If I put him in the bath with that solid mat back there, and the other leg he's got even worse one, he would come out just as knotted. There's just no magic I can do to undo them, other than carefully using some dry oils. They feel lovely, smell lovely, make him look temporarily clean, and that's what we did for now. So I'll just tackle the rest of the mats, and maybe when we come back we might be able to, it's got really big hocks there, so perhaps we'll trim those next for you. Okay, thanks for watching, and that's the bye bye.